It started with a noise, not a bang, not a crash, just the sharp sound of splintered wood. A forklift driver had turned too tightly, catching the edge of a pallet that wasn't stacked properly. The bottom board gave way, boxes slid, one tumbled down, hitting a nearby picker who was scanning inventory at floor level. The injuries were minor, a bruised arm, some shaken nerves. But it raised a bigger question. How many near misses were being walked past every day? Warehouses are built for movement. Forklifts crisscross wide aisles. Workers push carts, load skids, pick stock from high shelves. Conveyors hum. Orders stack up. Time matters. But in that constant motion, observation often becomes a casualty. It's easy to miss a broken pallet, a dangling strap, a wet patch on a concrete floor. It's even easier to assume someone else saw it, or that it doesn't matter because it hasn't caused a problem yet. But just like in every other industry we've looked at, the near miss is often the warning shot. In a large logistics hub in the Netherlands, a team member reported a squeaking wheel on a picking cart. It pulled slightly to the left. No one acted. A week later, during a rush order fulfillment, that same cart veered and struck a newly stacked load of electronics. The impact sent a monitor crashing onto the foot of another worker. The fracture kept them off work for 6 weeks. The cost was measurable. The cause? A missed observation about a €10 wheel. Warehousing environments demand a type of observation that moves at the speed of the workflow. You don't always get long pauses or quiet corners, but that doesn't mean observation has to take a back seat. In fact, it needs to ride shotgun. Let's talk about visibility. One of the leading contributors to incidents in warehouses is poor sight lines, blind corners, blocked mirrors, or obstructed floor markings. In a case from Ontario, a new delivery of seasonal stock was placed temporarily in a central aisle just for the afternoon. That stack, just chest high, created a blind turn near a crosspath. A forklift came through, unaware a worker was walking the other side. They collided. No one died, but the worker needed surgery. All because someone didn't speak up when they saw the boxes piling up. Observation isn't just about catching the big problems, it's about preventing the conditions that allow them. A chipped edge on a stairwell, a burnout light above a back rack, an emergency exit door that sticks in cold weather. These aren't random, they're signs. And if we ignore the signs, we end up surprised by the outcome we should have seen coming. In Germany, a major beverage distributor took a novel approach. They started a program called 3 Things Daily. Every worker at every shift was required to note 3 safety-related observations, not infractions, not complaints, observations. Some were positive, new anti-slip mat installed at the dock. Others were preventative. Box labels starting to fade near cold storage, and some were urgent. Dock plate hinge loose on bay 6. The goal wasn't perfection, it was participation. Within months, the entire warehouse shifted. Workers began to see things again. Incident rates dropped, morale rose. Accountability became a team habit, not a solo burden. Housekeeping is another cornerstone. In warehousing, clutter isn't just inconvenient, it's dangerous. A single stray wrap left from unpacking can become a slip hazard. A broken pallet leaned against a wall just for now can fall when someone brushes past. Observation means taking that extra second to ask, does this belong here? Is this the safest version of this space? One story from Australia drives this home. A worker in a distribution center had a habit of storing his scanner on a shelf just inside the pedestrian walkway of the racking. It was out of the way, sort of. One afternoon during a team walk, a supervisor noticed it and asked him about it. "It's just for a second," the worker replied. But they moved it anyway. 2 weeks later, a mechanical issue caused a pallet to slide slightly off its beam, right where the scanner would have been. That one small observation possibly prevented an injury, or worse. The truth is, warehouse workers know where the risks are. They walk them every day, but over time, risk becomes routine. That's why safety observations in warehousing aren't just about spotting the unknown. They're about re-seeing the known. And what about training? New hires, especially in peak seasons, often miss key safety cues because no one showed them what safe looks like. A mentor might mention procedures, but do they model observational behavior? Do they point out where and why people trip, where forklifts swing wide, or why that one rack corner always has dust? A sign of movement? Good observation is contagious. It spreads when it's seen in action. Let's not forget about fatigue. Warehousing can be physically demanding with long shifts and repetitive tasks. Tired eyes miss signs, tired minds skip steps, and tired teams fall into silence. That's why the best operations build in micro pauses. Short, structured checks that let people catch their breath and reset their attention. Even 30 seconds can be enough to shift from autopilot to awareness. So, what's the takeaway? If you work in warehousing, your environment is always changing. Every delivery, every shift, every layout change adds new variables. But the one constant is your ability to observe. Tomorrow, when you walk the floor, ask yourself, what's out of place? What's been that way for too long? What do I see now that I've been walking past without noticing? Your observation might just be the moment that breaks the chain, the one that keeps someone else from getting hurt, or ensures you go home with the same number of fingers and toes you came in with. In our next episode, we shift gears and head to agriculture, where wide open spaces, seasonal workforces, and weather-driven timelines make safety observations both uniquely difficult and absolutely essential. See you there. Thanks for sharing, and welcome to the community.